when the world gets in my way, I need to make a getaway. So I ride down that old dirt road, the same place I always go. It does a soul good sometimes to be alone from time to time. Take the time and let it all go. Watch the world go by real slow.
Hey everybody, welcome back to last Hobo's Ramble. I'm John.
I'm Adam.
We are excited to be here. Man, I'll tell you what, our numbers are growing way faster than we thought they would. We would love to thank everybody out there for listening in. And hey, drop us a line. We saw that we had some people, I think, in Belgium, Adam. Is that right?
Yeah, there were some downloads in Belgium, which was interesting.
Yeah, love to know more about that. So, that's the cool thing about this. It goes all over the world. So we got some stuff to talk about this week, Adam. You want to kick off with the news and information, or?
So hit us up at the podcast website is rss.com/podcasts with an S /Last Hobo's Ramble. You can also find us on Facebook, Last Hobo's Ramble. We have a Twitter and Instagram. Not quite as active on those yet. Hopefully here in the near future we will be, and certainly on TikTok as well. We have some pretty entertaining story videos there from some experienced gentlemen in life there. It's kind of taken off. People seem to enjoy their stories from back in the day.
Well, let me translate that. What he's saying is we've recorded some of the old men at the coffee shop telling stuff they used to do, and it turns out a lot of it's quite funny. So it's pretty popular. So hey, check it out on TikTok.
So we move into talk about some music news here.
Yeah, my favorite part.
That's right. So we got the Broadcast Music Incorporated out of Nashville. It's basically an organization for songwriters, performers. This year, they're giving Troubadour Award to Billy Gibbons.
About time.
Front and foremost beard in ZZ Top. Going to be getting a well-deserved award here. It's going to happen on the 18th of September. They're going to do it in Nashville. Billy's actually 73 years old, man. And,
that's what I mean, about time,
Yeah, it's a ZZ Top, obviously a Texas group. Matter of fact, that's what they're known as, the little old band from Texas. The vice president of that organization, they had a quote from him, and I think it's a spot-on quote, but it's one of those corporate quotes. He said his ability to craft lyrics that resonate with audiences across generations is a testament to his songwriting prowess, and he is the epitome of what the BMI Troubadour Award represents. Blah, blah, blah. This guy's power. I mean, look, if y'all have listened to us for the first 3 episodes, y'all know we kind of prefer to tell it how it is. I mean, this guy's got
We're opinionated.
Yeah, this guy's got a job to do, but it is a very, very well-deserved award for Billy, and I mean, I know he's a big part of our playlist around here, and a lot of times you can hear my son in there in the other room playing some LaGrange or something like that on his Strat. I mean, they're just one of those. They're a legend. We're in the point now where they're Billy's 73. I'm not so sure how old Beard is, the drummer, but they lost their bass player, who was an awesome bass player.
Yeah.
Dusty Hill, a few years back. And when they interviewed Billy for this, they actually mentioned that. And Billy, big part of what he said was, that they wish that Dusty could have been around for this. And of course, Frank Beard, the drummer, he's big into sobriety and spreading that message.
Well, now he is.
Yes. But hey,
Hey,
sometimes you got to live it to be able to help other people.
that's true.
You know?
That's true. He's also a big gun collector.
Really,
I
I
don't
didn't
know
know
if you
that.
knew that or not. Yes.
Two of our favorite things, guns and music.
I was gonna say, what sobriety? You gotta be kidding me.
Eh, not always our favorite thing. It's useful.
Yeah, look, what I said earlier is, it's about time. You're going to have to help me pronounce this probably because I always mess it up. But I hate to see them give an artist award posthumously. You can't recognize them when they're alive. Why do you wait till they die? It's like as soon as they die, people just throw awards at them. Let's be serious. These guys work their butts off, and we're gonna wait till they die. Come on.
Well, and it's the old.
And it's not just BMI, it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Country Music Hall of Fame is probably one of the worst. That's what when Jerry Reed and those guys did that Old Dog thing, they had that song about, Nashville's hard on the living, but it sure speaks well of the dead. So,
Yep.
so I'm glad to give it to him while he can, at least maybe enjoy it.
It's the old Elvis syndrome, man.
Yeah.
I mean, take him or leave him, and we have our opinions. Can't deny his talent for sure.
Oh yeah.
But here's Elvis. People say all the time, worth more dead than alive.
Absolutely.
Elvis has grossed more since he passed away than he ever did while he was living.
Right. Well, I mean, that's kind of like Stevie Ray Vaughan. There's more Stevie Ray Vaughan autographed guitars come out after he died than when he was alive. So,
Yeah.
Be careful.
Forgery is a popular pastime for many people.
What people will do for money, Well, I see a note on my computer says, "Did John do his homework?"
Well, before we get to that, before we
pardon me for jumping ahead.
I did want to. So one of my favorite instrumentals is Shuffle and See, and that's the one thing that ZZ Top, Billy and Dusty Hill would play Shuffle and See, and it turned into, from what I could tell, anytime they did it, it was just a jam session. And they would play for minutes at a time, tens of minutes, and just play off of one another. And to me, when Billy says, Dusty Hill, Dusty and I will always be connected, because he was quoted in the article, Dusty and I will always be connected through Shuffle and See, and it'll never be the same, more or less is what he said. And so it's, it was more than a band and entertainment. It was one of those guys were friends, brothers, and that relationship comes out in their music, I think. And even when they hit it big and they had all it was a circus, right? You've seen the Netflix documentary about ZZ Top. Like, they had buzzards and longhorns, and I mean, they just put on a show. But at the base of it all, there were three guys there that, I mean, they were three brothers, and it definitely translates to their art. But as far as your homework, I emailed you earlier in the week. And,
I did see it. I read it.
Yeah. And I didn't know if you had any success or not.
What Adam's telling me is not telling you guys. He sent me an email with a Gretsch Chet Atkins, a 59 reissue Chet Atkins. I think it's a Country Gentleman. The model.
Let's see here. I'm about to pull it up.
And
Their
of course,
model number is the G6120T. It's a 59 vintage select edition. Chet Atkins. Let's see. Hollow body. Got the Bigsby, but it's got Chet's signature in the pick guard there.
mhm.
I mean, it's a fine.
And it's in Gretsch orange,
thing.
right?
It's in Gretsch orange.
The way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Adam sent me a picture of that, and he's like, "Hey, this week you contact Gretsch and see if he'll send us one over for us to review." And man, they're just not answering their phone. I tell you. So I don't know if they got caller ID or what, but uh, it would be awesome if we could do something like that. But that's really not where we're at this point in life. But that is a fine guitar, just from the pictures. Uh, and they made that guitar while Chet was alive. It is a reissue guitar, and he's one of those guys that really deserves his own guitar. I mean,
And actually, where I come across this guitar was there was a guy with a small guitar shop uh, in Europe, and he was doing a video of the best songs, top 5 Gretsch songs, or I mean, it was basically these are songs that people who were Gretsch players wrote, and these are the top ones. And
right.
I'll try to find it. Maybe I can share it over to our Facebook page. But I mean, what's Brian? They make another one. Brian's. I can never.
Brian
get his-
Setzer from
Setzer.
Stray Cats has one.
Yes. That was
Dwayne
one.
Eddy.
Yep.
Dwayne Eddy has one. I don't know if you
Yep.
follow. He's Dwayne Eddy, probably to get everybody to just know who he was the fastest. When you watch Forrest Gump, and he goes to running under all the oak trees down the road, where I think the line "Run, Forrest, Run" comes in, and the little braces fall off his legs. The song they're playing is called "Rebel Rouser," and that's by Dwayne Eddy and the Rebels. And as a teenager, I got a chance to see Huey Lewis and the News over at Stephen F. Austin, and Huey came out and introduced the opening act, which he said this was one of his favorite bands of all time, and it was Dwayne Eddy, and just amazing the music they put out, mostly instrumental stuff. But hey, maybe a little known fact about Dwayne Eddy is he had a child with Jessie Coulter, Waylon Jennings' wife. Yeah.
Really?
Now, I think that was before Jesse and Waylon were married, of course, but if it wasn't, I feel sorry for Dwayne.
No lie. I was just thinking that.
But no, I think it was before they were married, but they do have a child together, so there's always a mix in there somewhere.
Well, and here's the thing about Gretsch and their players, not their player series, but their signature series stuff. I mean, all of their guitars are beautiful, right? And you get something with some nostalgia as far as if you're a Brian Setzer guy. Hey man, this is my Brian Setzer Gretsch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really proud of it. They have one that has the dice knobs.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. But where that comes from is Brian Setzer's that he played religiously had his pinup sticker at the top. There's a little pinup girl like you'd see on the side of a World War II bomber, right? And then down he had custom dice knobs for all of his setting knobs. And so they kind of have a nod to him there. Once again, Gretsch is not paying us at all, but they have some beautiful guitars. They've always had some beautiful guitars. I mean, it's just the way it is. Other than, when you get to the ones that are Pepto-Bismol pink, that was a lapse in judgment. But hey, that's
right.
your thing. That's your thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't turn it down if somebody offered to give me one. That's what my point is. But
right.
So you get some of the nostalgia. The cooler thing would be if you had Brian Setzer's actual Gretsch and Chet Atkins'
Right.
actual country gentleman. And if you do have one of those, John and I love to make new friends.
Right. Absolutely. You know, and Gretsch supports some of the things that we like. You know, they were the supporting. I don't know how you would say it, but they were part of the Country Music Hall of Fame when we were up there. And you know, that's giving back's a big deal. You know. Yeah, man, Gretsch, they've made cool guitars for many years, and they've got a lot of people that play them, and they're cool people. And if you don't know, you know, if y'all had never listened to Chet Atkins, go YouTube Chet Atkins and Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits. You will be floored at the music that comes out of these guys. But also go YouTube Dwayne Eddy and Brian Setzer. You will enjoy every bit of it. Brian Setzer is just crazy rockabilly guy, man. And I mean, he's more than that, but he's really, his rockabilly skills are on point, you know. So
Well, and
I still go back and listen to a lot of that stuff.
Yep. And the other part about these, the country gentlemen, the streamliners, is what their big push in that area is now. Those guitars are so versatile. Like, you can have a guy like Brian Setzer or Chet Atkins, you know. But Brian was kind of a crossover, you know, rockabilly, you know, it was a rock country kind of, had a little twang to it. But man, if you like metal, you could play it on a Gretsch. I mean, these guitars, you can dial them into whatever you want, just about.
Well, it's crazy. Everybody says, well, you know, this guitar's for this or this guitar's for that. And to a point, you know, okay, Telecasters are awesome country guitars. They twang, man. But go back and watch John 5 play with Marilyn Manson.
Yep.
Playing the Telecaster.
Yep.
I watched, somebody told me, said, man, you got to check this guy out. Plays with Marilyn Manson. It's like, it's not my kind of stuff, you know. No, you really need to check him out. So I YouTubed it and I found a video and I'm like, this guy can play, you know, but that's not my kind of music. Well, I'm over there messing around and up pops an Austin City Limits video and there's the same guy playing the same guitar, but he's playing with a country act. And he's probably the most versatile guitar player out there right now. He's amazing. But you can't pigeonhole these guitars to, it's all in what they play, you know, who's playing them. You know, you've heard probably Joe Walsh say, if I pick up a Strat, I sound like Joe Walsh. If I pick up a Tele, I sound like Joe Walsh. If I pick up he's going to be Joe Walsh.
To put it succinctly, it's not the guitar guys.
No, it's those guys that they create their own little things in the music that's little telltales on them. Yep. You know, you go back and watch Stevie Ray, especially the way he picked, and he could go from hitting them strings extremely hard to doing real light picking, and just get this really, I don't know, man, mellow keyboardist tone to them. Just those, a true guitar player can make any guitar sound good.
Hey, and there you go, Stevie. How often did you see him without the Strat?
Right.
But I mean, he could do. Ooh, if only we could all play like Stevie.
Well, it'd be a boring world, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We all could play that well. This weekend was the 50th anniversary of the album Viva Terra Lingua by Jerry Jeff Walker. That album was amazing. It was recorded live in Luckenbach Dance Hall, 1973. They considered Jerry Jeff Walker at the time progressive country. I don't guess they had the words for outlaw country. I'm not sure, but there was a movement going on at the time that we've all heard about, you know, the outlaw movement and everything, but he was considered progressive country. that that had songs written by Jerry Jeff Walker, of course, but it also had songs written by Michael Martin Murphey, like Backsliders Wine, Guy Clark's Desperados Waiting on for a Train was on there. Uh, and we got our redneck anthem from Ray Wiley Hubbard, Up Against the Wall, Redneck Mother. And something about that song that's on there, that was probably the first album I knew of where the singer called out the songwriter's name. You know, I think he says, here's a song by Ray Wiley Hubbard, and somebody in the background hollers Hubbard, something like that. So, you know, he paid tribute. You know, he made sure everybody got recognized. And then there was a song on there by Gary P. Nunn, and he actually let Gary P. Nunn sing the song on the album, which was kind of unheard of at that time. And this is, if I'm not badly mistaken, which I don't think I am, but yeah, Gary P. Nunn got to sing it, and it was London Homesick Blues, which a lot of people have heard and don't know that's the name of it. It's the song that plays at the beginning of Austin City Limits, about I want to go home to the armadillo. So, you know, that turned out to be another anthem in the state of Texas for us. And that album, man, of course, Jerry Jeff's passed on. I think I'd seen that Michael Martin Murphey was going to be there. Ray Wiley Hubbard may have said he was going to be there. And I think filling in for Jerry Jeff, if you can, it's going to be Todd Snyder.
That's a good choice.
Well, Todd was a big Jerry Jeff Walker fan. We're fans of Todd Snyder, you know, and
never again, never again, son.
Never again, boy. Yeah, there's some stories on there that's not for the children, but you go to YouTube. If you go watch Todd Snyder videos, take the kids out of the room, because I love the guy, but his language is just goes off the rails sometimes, and he don't mean it, you know, but to say he uses blue language would be an understatement. And he does talk about, you know, illicit drugs and alcohol and women some. So
if you get the chance, just listen to the Todd Snyder banana story. And it'll give you a lot of insight into what all the other stuff is. It's probably one of the more benign stories too.
Right. Well, Todd's one of those people that he learned a lot from Jerry Jeff Walker and some of them, and also he learned to be comedic and entertaining when he wasn't playing, you know, and I think that's a big part of it. So yeah, 50 years. If you've been listening to that album for most of your life, hey, you're getting old.
They're going to have a pretty good party out in Lukenbach.
Yeah. I hate that we're not going to be there, but
be nice to be there celebrating some of the three name guys, right?
That's right. Yeah, and the one initial guy, right?
That's right.
It's always been funny. You were either going to be a three name guy or you had the initial. You were going to be Ray Wiley Hubbard, Jerry Jeff Walker, or you could be Gary P. Nunn. It's kind of a Texas thing, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how they came up with that. Other music news, my favorite living guitar player, Eric Johnson, Austin boy. I shouldn't say boy, he's a little older than I am, but yeah, well, hush. Austin, Texas native, Eric Johnson, had a birthday on August 17th. You know, there's you a Grammy Award winning virtuoso.
I think say he could play the guitar a little better than you too. Not only
a little bit, yeah. And you know, the thing is, it's not just that he plays piano.
Yeah.
Now I want to say that he was classically trained on the piano. I think I'd read somewhere his daddy was like I think a doctor or something, but they got him piano lessons when he was real young. And so I think he come up in, you know, actual probably reading music and all that stuff most guitar players don't do. You know, most guitar players learn to either play by. Used to they learn to play by ear. So, but yeah, Eric celebrated his birthday, and that's awesome. You know,
A little bit of a history, this day in history situation. So on the 19th, back in 1837, you had a guy named Robert Alexander. He was a Methodist minister. He crossed the Sabine River into the Republic of Texas. Yep, we were our own country then. Well, we won't get into that, but anyway, he was from Tennessee, and he had been appointed a missionary to Texas. Had a couple of helpers there with him, Martin Reuter and Littleton Fowler.
Littleton, yeah.
Yeah, Littleton. And so they more or less crossed the Sabine. They had a camp meeting at the McMahon settlement. So he held a quarterly conference, and it was at that point that they formed the San Augustine Circuit.
Mm-hmm.
And he went on to be the first Methodist missionary in Texas, Caney Creek area. He later played a leading role in the establishment of a college, Ruddersville, and its successor, which was Southwestern University. His ministry in Texas ended up lasting 45 years. But I thought that was interesting, especially being from your neck of the woods over there. San Augustine area and Caney Creek area.
He so you said that he was appointed a missionary by Littleton Fowler, and Littleton Fowler had a Masonic lodge named after him that set up on Farm Road 330 just north of Milam. That little community that it is, what's left of it, very small. Okay, so later Milam was the county seat at one time. One point later on, they decided to, this I think was much later, they decided to put Littleton Fowler Masonic Lodge in Milam. Well, I don't know if it was the original one, but the Masonic Lodge there at on 330, what was called Sexton, Sexton. That Masonic Lodge, when I was a senior in high school, had fallen down, but it still had the compass and square above the door. That's how we knew what it was. You know, most of those guys that go to the lodge don't even know where it was at. So it's an interesting thing, you know, how, but it's his namesake, you know.
Interesting. It's always cool, though. You find something like that obviously waited till, probably wasn't on purpose, but after the war there for independence in Texas, you know, and they come in, but probably was a lot safer.
I may be way off on that Masonic thing, but I don't think I am. Just, again, you know, I didn't study up for that or anything. That's just off the top of my head. Also, on the 19th, John Wesley Hardin was murdered. I say murdered because he was shot in the back in El Paso. He was killed in El Paso. You know, I don't really get into this glorifying of murders and things, but there is this lore of the Old West. John Wesley Hardin was a true gunfighter, but a lot of people say he was probably the fastest there ever was. Or, you know, he killed, depending on which person you read, he killed between 21 and 36 men. I think Billy the Kid was supposed to be somewhere between 3 and 7 in actuality, but Billy the Kid's a bigger legend, so you know that's how that works. But again, not trying to glorify it. The reason I segued to John Wesley Hardin is so when you say that the Methodist Church started that circuit in San Augustine, you know what that was, right? Methodist circuits. They didn't have enough preachers, so they traveled town to town.
Yep.
Right, and would preach different places on Sunday.
Yep.
So when they would have things, those were called Methodist circuit riders. John Wesley Hardin was a Methodist circuit rider at one time.
Did not know that.
Yes. And he has some stories connected here to Hemphill. He had come to Hemphill several times. Now, this is documented in the Texas State Handbook of History, or whatever that's called, TSHA. If y'all can look it up, okay? He came to Sabine County, Hemphill. They were having an event, and he witnessed one of the sheriff's deputies. He witnessed one of the sheriff's deputies scolding a child, and he thought it was a little harsher than it should have been. And he stepped in and told the sheriff's deputy, I don't know the words, but he stopped the sheriff's deputy from correcting the child. And the sheriff's deputy decided he was going to impose his authority on him. So he went to pull his gun, and John Wesley Hardin, according to the Handbook of Texas History, pulled his gun out and shot him in the arm. The jailhouse is on the corner. You've seen it like they used to be. They said that the sheriff and the other deputies come running out of the jailhouse. They saw that it was John Wesley Hardin, so they had to go back in and get their guns and everything. Well, by the time they got everything gathered up they thought they would need, John Wesley Hardin had already left. So,
Smart.
Discretion's a better part of valor, right?
That's right.
So that's a cool little story there, that he might not have been such a bad guy, but yeah, that's a story in the Handbook of Texas History. Bob Bozeman had written a story about it. He's kind of considered the authority of all things historical in our area. He's passed on now, but it's a fun story. But yeah. And you live by the gun, you die by the gun. So he got shotgun blasted in the back in El Paso, and that's where he lays today.
Yep.
Me and Adam probably won't be going to check that grave out no time soon. That's a little hike up there.
Lengthy drive. Presumably, killed by John Selman.
Yep, over Big Nose Kate. Was that her? Or I'm on the wrong woman, aren't I?
Yeah, I think so. But basically, he had hired Selman and some other guys to kill one of the officials there because he was sporting around with the guy's wife. And they did it, and he didn't pay up. And Selman got him, snuck up on him and shot him. Hardin, he had been in prison in Pensacola for murder and ended up being pardoned. But while he was in prison, he got his law degree and was practicing law in El Paso actually at the time.
That's right. So you never know, right?
You never know.
So if it's okay, man, I got a little thing I want to jump into, and it's just kind of a rant of mine, that what kind of society we're living in and what people are thinking now. You and I follow a guy, and I couldn't tell you his real name on TikTok and sometimes on YouTube, Wrangler Star, and he was a U.S. Forest Service firefighter at one time, and he does a thing called Pro-Ho, which is pro homeowners, and some of the stuff he puts on there is really good tips. He shows you how to sharpen your axe, and he shows you how to change handles in them the proper way, things like that, that they just don't do a lot of. People don't teach that stuff anymore, but he lives off grid. I guess he in some way is a prepper, but he kind of gets out there and points. You and I've talked about it. He says some things on there that we think are, well, that's pushing it a little, but Rolling Stone magazine had decided they were going to do an article over him, and they really took him to task over being a right-wing, conservative, Christian, racist. We always got to throw racism in there, right? Here's my thing. When I was a child or young man, Rolling Stone magazine was about music, 90% of it. And that's gone away now. We're talking about they're trying to cancel somebody that's not even in their genre. It's not in their world. MTV used to play music videos. And now what is it? It's just reality TV, which is not real. You know, and I don't care that they changed their format to fit what the people want. That's the way business works. We get that because we've talked about, our format's changed in a little bit. Not that drastic like they are, but just a touch. But, that's the way business works. But for them to take it upon themselves to go out and try to get this guy canceled, one, this is how the guy makes his money now. And he has a family. He's real proud of that. And we're going to go knock his job out from under him. We're going to go take everything he's got. What are we doing? What happened to old Hank Williams Jr. song? If you don't like it, can't you just let it be? Here's my thing. When I see something on TikTok or YouTube I don't like, I pass it by.
Yeah,
I'm done with it. Right. It's that quick. It's over with. And I no longer have to worry about it. But these people, I don't know who. I'm sure that Rolling Stone's probably got some fresh out of college reporters now, journalists, I'll call them. But man, get back to writing about music. Get back to telling us what albums are coming out, interviewing people. Robbie Robertson from the band just passed away. Great guitar player, great songwriter. That's the kind of thing that I remember about Rolling Stones. There would be a big article covering his whole life in there, and I know it just happened, so they haven't had time to put that out in print. But that's what I think it should be. I don't think everybody should be out trying to police the world.
I think you're right. Stay in your lane. And you and I talked about when we were going to start this podcast that we were going to avoid politics. And here's the deal. This is not a political.
No.
From our side, not a political stance. This is leave the guy alone. Yeah. He's not bothering you. He's not advocating for any kind of violence or militant. He's not. He's doing basically what I would call homesteading advice, right? So he's very much I'll call him a prepper, but he's not bothering anybody. And a lot of the stuff that he has is useful information for people that may not know, how to sharpen their axe when they don't have somebody to take it to sharpen,
Right. So, well, we live in a society where most men or males are growing up without fathers.
That's right.
I had to take my daughter out when she got her driver's license. I took her out and we changed the tire on the car. It wasn't even flat. And she's like, "Why are we doing this?" I said, "Because now you know how to change a tire.
Yep.
You need to know how to put gas in your car. You need to know how to change a flat. You need to know how to do several things. That goes with owning the vehicle." Unfortunately, we don't have people teaching these things. And yeah, like we said, he does kind of get out there sometimes on some stuff. But mostly what I've seen has just been protecting his home.
That's it.
Not attacking other people.
And that's the whole deal, is he's not out there blasting Rolling Stone for turning themselves into some sort of useless rag, I mean, he's minding his own business. This guy's not drawing the money that Rolling Stone is. Why do y'all feel threatened by him?
Exactly.
I mean,
well, we have to have some kind of scandal. We have to have some kind of turmoil to sell things anymore. We just saw it with the country music. I know I'm transitioning here. We just saw it with the country music with the Jason Aldean song. And you and I brought that up when it first come out, maybe our first podcast, that, we're not Jason Aldean fans, but we support the guy's right to cut the song if he wants to. I'm glad for the songwriters that are making money. I'm glad it went up as high as it did. I have no issue with any of it. What I've heard of the song, it's fine. But we got people protesting it or they were, all the way up high as the TV show The View. But thank God we had a young man named, we talked about him last week.
Oliver Anthony.
Oliver Anthony. Oliver Anthony came out and he just squished. You notice the controversy all went away.
Yep.
So
yeah, and hey, take note. From the political side of things, take note, guys, because his number one song, he's just blown up since we talked about him. I mean, not that we did it, but
yeah, we brought him all the way, but glad we could help his career.
Yeah, we did notice there early, but it has nothing to do with us. It's all his raw talent and ability. But his number one song is "Rich Men North of Richmond," and he takes the politicians to task and the welfare mooch and that kind of thing. I mean, he jumps on it. You can like it or not, you can have your feelings hurt or not, but guess what? The guy has the number one song on iTunes, and 2 weeks ago, nobody knew who he was.
Well, I think the people are speaking loud and clear. I think they're speaking with their likes and shares, and they're spending where they spend their money. I think it's very loud and clear.
Yep. And Rolling Stone better be careful, because what's the saying now? I mean, they got it. Everybody go woke, go broke.
That's right.
I mean, and they've always been more left leaning, even in their music stuff. But
they have, but you know what? I mean, this seems like it just jumped way out for me. And like I said, it's my pet peeve. I don't know that Adam shares the same view. We didn't really talk about this. I just know that we've both seen the guy and talked about him before, and we both like some of his videos. So, it's not a, hey, this is everybody needs to follow what I say. I'm just venting that I would like for my music creators and people to stay in the music business, okay, entertainment business, and let's stay out of the other crap.
If you got something,
that's all I'm saying on it.
You got something you want to say, put it in a song and let the charts decide.
Write a poem, write a short essay, send them a editorial rebuttal. It's, we got a lot of ways to handle things. This is the way I get to handle it.
First time John was like, "Hey, have you seen this Wrangler Star guy?" So my thing was, yeah, he's got some good stuff, but he's a different kind of guy, and he is. But
he is. Look, definitely.
Look at us.
Yeah.
I mean, and so that's what I was like. Look, the thing that really gets me about him is he starts every video with
beloved.
He calls all of his viewers beloved. Which, hey, you know what? I mean, that's seems to be his way of throwing some love at the people who are supporting him. So
well, and his videos, one thing I've noticed, he's always barefooted. He's out there splitting firewood barefooted, which you and I both are like, no, that don't. Our past work life, we're like, you can't do that. Yeah. And then he's very quirky, but like Adam said, so are we. Me and Adam, we get along so well because we recognize we have quirks and we accept them. But the guy, I've never seen him cuss on there. I've never seen him say anything malicious about anybody, really. He just does his own thing and lives his own way. And like I said, if you don't like his videos, turn them off. That's the only way to really silence the man. And and I'm not going to turn him off because I really, like I said, I enjoy him, man.
That's what I was going to say. I like the guy.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to go camp with him or something. I wouldn't stay in the same tent, but hey.
Right. You got to have rules. I've watched Wrangler Star way more than I have listened to anything that Rolling Stone has said in the past year. So
I agree. I mean, when I was younger,
which may be their problem, maybe what they're upset about.
Well, when I was a younger person, I had a subscription,
Yeah.
And that's back when that's the only way you got them, Yeah. But hey, I did. I was a subscriber and a reader, and now I don't even look at them. It's just so far gone.
Well, and so did you see on my personal Facebook, I shared a quote from T.S. Eliot.
I did.
But basically, it says most of the trouble in the world is caused by people wanting to be important.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a big T.S. Eliot fan, definitely not a Texas guy, but hey, that's a good point.
You
A lot
know,
of the trouble that we come across as a society is because people want to be important. And you can
exactly.
apply that to whatever you want. And if somebody feels like I'm addressing a certain group of people, that is what it is. But look, you're no more important than the next guy or gal. Just, just live your life and leave people alone. I mean, we've said it before on here. We're Christians, and we place all of our trust in Jesus, and that's up to you. But if you don't know about him, you better go check him out, because
Yeah.
you won't find him in Rolling Stone, I assure you.
No. And one of the other things we talked about when we started this podcast was we wasn't going to get into the politics or the religion. Unfortunately, some of the music leads us to the politics. We're going to try to stay out of the religion unless you have questions about it. We might can direct you in the right way, but we're not here to hold Sunday service with you. We're here to entertain ourselves and maybe a few people along the way.
Did you try anything?
Yeah, I ate at the feed lot or feed store cafe. I'm not sure what they're calling it, but it's in the old feed store. Uh, Ate there a couple of times this past week. Me and Terry and I ate there a couple of times. One day I had a chicken fried steak sandwich. It was really, really good. And I asked them about, they were going to come with tater tots. So I asked a lady, can I get my tater tots a little bit crisper? I like mine a little crisper. I don't like them soggy. And they did, man. They were acting like they were glad to do it. And good sweet tea, uh, friendly people. And then we ate there Friday, which here, every place in town that serves food is going to have fish on Friday. And that's typically going to be fried. So we got there, and was the special, was fried fish. So we had fried catfish, French fries. The only thing I would say that kind of threw me was they served toast with it. I don't know that I've ever been served toast with fish before, but
Like Texas toast?
not really. Like white bread toast.
I'd like a toaster.
Well, it went in a toaster and came out. It went in as white bread and came out as toast.
So not skillet toast.
No, toaster toast, not fried toast. I don't know where the disconnect is on this, Adam. It's
There's
just
different
toast.
kinds. There's different kinds of toast, John.
I understand it.
Skillet Texas toast would be. I don't know. You've thrown me for a loop.
Puzzles you, don't it?
It has.
I don't know where that come from, but it is. So hey, it's not a knock against them. It's just the way they served it. It was good food. The food was good. The wait staff was friendly. Everything was great. So yeah. I'm trying to think of who had that quote, and I'm gonna mess it up, so I'll paraphrase it. It boggles my mind how someone could drive all the way across the state of Texas without trying a chicken fried steak.
That's confusing for sure.
I mean, I could eat them every day.
Now, at the feed store, do they serve breakfast?
They do have breakfast, I think.
You know what my next question is?
Do you get toast with it?
Well, if you order something that has toast, do you get fish with it for breakfast?
I don't know. I hadn't had breakfast there yet. So, I understand what you're saying.
I ain't mad at them.
Hey, you should have seen Terry. If you've never seen somebody that's been on this earth for as long as he has, look at the plate and go, "Is that toast?"
Hey.
Because, here's the funny thing about Terry. I don't know if you picked up on this or not. He don't ever call me just by my first name. He calls me by my first and last name. Even when we're just having casual conversation. When he said that, he's like, "Hey, John Strickland, what's the deal with that toast?" I don't know, Terry.
Oh, yeah.
It floored us both, though. You know,
I mean, I'm shocked that you didn't ask the question.
Well, look, I didn't want to get into it too bad, you know, because it's one of them things I was afraid I was going to get into a whole conversation I didn't mean to. You know what I mean? And here's
Yeah,
the thing: I have had people serve me raw toast with fish. You
so
picked up on
bread,
that
so
bread.
bread. Yeah,
I'm sure that you've had bread on the table when you had fish, because typically if someone gets a bone in their throat, you eat that bread and sometimes catch that bone and pull it out.
yep.
That's a country thing there. But to this day, in my short 52 years on this earth, I cannot remember ever having toast with fried fish. And it did come out with beans, and those beans are pretty good.
So like pork and beans.
No, more like a kind of like a pinto or a red bean.
Okay,
And if they had had a little rice in there, they would have been off the chain. But it was just
that's right.
beans. You know, slab
That's
of
right.
cornbread. The cornbread would come out with that fish would have made more sense to me.
I could see that, or even a roll.
Yeah, a dinner
But
roll.
hey, you know what though? Possible that the cook, whenever Granddad did toast, Grandma did. I mean,
That's
whenever
what I'm saying.
Granddad did.
You
I
don't
mean,
never know where this come from. You know, it might have been that way at their house every time they sit down. You know,
and nobody hates toast.
nah. Well, it's like Kendall. You know, I've told you about him before. If he sits down and you've got bread or rolls, I mean, if you've got gravy, any kind of gravy on the table, he thinks you're supposed to have cornbread, bread, rolls, you know, something to sop that gravy up with. And I don't disagree with him, you
I don't
know.
either.
You know, so that's the way we grew up, you know.
You and I are way better soppers than we are podcasters. So
Oh, I guarantee you, I can run a biscuit through some gravy and make a show out of it, buddy. If you don't feel like you fit anywhere else, maybe you should just hang out here.
that's right. At least once a week with the podcast coming out. Appreciate your support so far. Please review us on whatever platform that you're downloading the podcast on. We certainly appreciate it, and it helps us get a little bit more exposure. We can spread our love of Texas music and food and history as far as we can, and that's really all we want to do, is to entertain y'all and show some love for Texas.
Hey, and let me throw this at Adam. What did I just say? Let me throw this at them, Adam. So, if there's something about Texas history that we can help you, especially East Texas, that we can help you with, we're not experts. I don't have a degree in history, but we know people that the county historians and people at the historic centers, preservation. I've dealt with a lot of them looking stuff up before. So if there's something you would like to know about in East Texas history, probably get there, even get you some pictures or video and get you down to pretty close to the truth of what happened best we can. Sometimes history don't match what happened, so.
But we certainly appreciate all y'all. Check us out on our social media. We'll see if we can get some Brian Setzer guitar and maybe Chet Atkins pictures up there. Y'all hit us up, review us if you can, and then we'll see y'all or talk at y'all next week.
How it goes. Roll down the windows, turn up the radio. Just kick back and ride real slow. Take it